The need for approval is a disease, and it's killing your potential. Most people walk through life acting like performers on a stage, waiting for applause after every move they make. They change their tone, their style, their decisions, all to please people who wouldn't even show up for them in a crisis. That's weakness. That's slavery in disguise. If your choices are shaped by how others will react, you're not living your life. You're renting it out to the opinions of people who don't matter. You don't need a green light from anyone to become who you were meant to be. The truth is, most people don't want to see you win. They want you average. They want you small. They want you right where they are, stuck, soft, and scared. So when you go around trying to win their approval, you're actually asking for permission to stay beneath your potential. That's not respect. That's submission, and submission to mediocrity is a slow death. You can't be powerful and approval, hungry at the same time. Those two things don't mix. Power comes from internal certainty. It comes from knowing that your vision, your path, your work ethic, those things are valid whether or not the crowd claps. People who build empires, who make millions, who dominate in their fields, they didn't get there by asking for permission. They got there by being unapologetically obsessed with their mission, not with being liked. The need for approval is why most people never take the shot. They're paralyzed by the idea that someone might laugh, that someone might criticize, that someone might not understand. So what? Let them laugh, let them doubt, let them gossip. While they're busy talking, you'll be busy building. Every second spent worrying about how others will perceive you is a second stolen from your goals. You don't get those seconds back. You have to become immune to opinions, not numb immune. There's a difference. Being numb means nothing affects you. Being immune means you've trained yourself to recognize what matters and discard what doesn't. And most of the noise people throw at you, it's garbage, jealousy in disguise, insecurity in a costume. People hate what they can't be. The moment you start leveling up, you become a mirror. You reflect back to them everything they're not doing, everything they gave up on. And rather than face that truth, they try to pull you back down. That's the game. Learn the rules. You were not born to be a background character in your own life. The need for approval turns you into one. It waters you down. You start filtering your truth. You start second, guessing your moves. You stop leading and start following. You shrink to fit into rooms you should be outgrowing. You play nice when you should be playing to win. And for what? A pat on the back from someone who doesn't even know where they're going. Overthinking is mental paralysis disguised as intelligence. You think you're being smart by running every scenario through your head 1,000 times, but what you're really doing is delaying action, and action is the only thing that gets results. While you sit there overanalyzing, someone else is out there doing. They're making moves, building momentum, and learning through failure. You're stuck in a mental loop that gets you nowhere. Let's be honest. Overthinking is fear dressed up in strategy. You're not trying to be prepared. You're trying to avoid discomfort. You don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to face uncertainty. So you think and you think, telling yourself you're being careful, when really you're just scared, and fear doesn't make kings. Fear doesn't build legacies. Fear is the enemy of everything you say you want. People who win don't overthink. They decide fast, ruthlessly. They know clarity comes from action, not from sitting in a dark room with a whiteboard. You want to figure it out. Move, launch the business, post the content, apply for the job, send the message, make the call. Whatever your mind is circling, the solution is movement, not more thoughts. Not more planning, movement. Overthinking is the reason most people never even start. They overanalyze themselves into inaction. What if I fail? What will people think? Is now the right time? Do you think the people at the top asked those questions and waited for perfect answers before they made their move? No, they accepted risk. They made bold choices. They lived with the consequences, and because of that, they own their life. Meanwhile, you're still stuck on step one, afraid to look stupid. Guess what? You will look stupid. At some point, you will mess up. You will get it wrong. You will make a bad call. That's the price of progress. But the person who overthinks never even gives themselves a chance to fail, let alone succeed. They kill their own momentum before it ever has a chance to breathe. Overthinking doesn't make you wise. It makes you weak. It makes you soft. You become a mental hoarder, collecting ideas, collecting fears, collecting hypothetical scenarios that never even happen. And while you're mentally drowning in your own what-ifs, the world keeps turning. People keep winning. Time keeps passing. You lose years to decisions you never made. You want freedom. You want power. You want to lead. Then learn to trust yourself. You won't always be right, but you'll always be moving. And movement beats perfection every time. Action builds experience. Action builds confidence. Action creates evidence that you are capable. Overthinking builds doubt, confusion, hesitation, all traits that keep you average. You can't think your way into success. You act your way into it. There is no perfect time. There is no right feeling. There is no moment when every detail will align. That moment doesn't exist. What exists is now, right now. And if you can't train yourself to move without needing certainty, you'll stay stuck forever in your own mind. Laziness is not a condition. It's a decision. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, every time you scroll instead of grind, every time you sleep in when you should be showing up, you are choosing to lose. And no, it's not because you're tired. It's not because you need a break. It's because you lack discipline. Because comfort has become more important to you than results. That's why you're stuck. People love to dress laziness up with fancy words. I'm burned out. I'm not motivated. I'm waiting for the right time. No, you're not. You're just avoiding the work. You're addicted to the idea of success but allergic to the process. You like the thought of having the money, the body, the respect, but you hate what it takes to get there. And that's the difference between the top 1% and everyone else. The ones at the top don't need motivation. They work whether they feel like it or not. You don't need another motivational video. You need a mirror. You need to face the reality that your laziness is costing you everything you say you want. Opportunities gone, time wasted, self-respect eroded. You tell yourself you're resting. But what exactly are you resting from? You haven't even started. You want the lifestyle, the freedom, the admiration, but you can't even get out of bed without hitting snooze 3 times. There are people out there with less talent than you, less skill than you, less potential than you, and they're winning. Not because they're better, but because they show up every single day. They don't negotiate with their goals. They don't wait for the stars to align. They don't need ideal conditions. They execute, and that's what separates the doers from the dreamers. Effort, relentless daily effort. Laziness feeds on excuses. You'll convince yourself you're waiting to feel ready, that you're taking it slow, that you're figuring things out. But all you're doing is avoiding pain. You don't want to sweat. You don't want to struggle. You don't want to be uncomfortable. And that's exactly why you're stuck in the same place, month after month, year after year. Your life doesn't change because your habits don't change. You can't escape hard work. There is no shortcut, no magic formula, no secret hack. The grind is the grind. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care what you went through. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. You either match its pace or get left behind. And if you're lazy, you're not just falling behind. You're being replaced by the ones who are hungrier, sharper, more disciplined. The ones who understand that the world rewards execution, not intention. You say you want success, but your actions scream comfort. You talk like a winner, but you move like a spectator. You've convinced yourself that you'll turn it on when it counts, but here's the truth, it always counts. Every day, every hour, every decision, the reps you skip, the hours you waste, the tasks you avoid, they all add up, and in the end they become the reason you're not where you want to be. Complaining is the anthem of the weak. It's the habit of people who have already surrendered but still want to sound like they are in the fight. You hear it all day: it's too hard, it's not fair, I don't have time, I'm just unlucky. Everyone's got a sob story, but very few have a plan. That's the difference between winners and whiners. Winners adjust, whiners complain. Let's be real. Life doesn't owe you anything. You weren't promised perfect conditions. You weren't guaranteed fairness. You were born and that's it. After that, it's on you. The faster you accept that, the faster you get out of your own way. Complaining doesn't fix anything. It doesn't solve problems. It just amplifies them. You give your energy to the problem instead of the solution, and then wonder why nothing changes. You know what complaining does. It trains your mind to look for reasons to be stuck. Every time you run your mouth about how hard life is, you're feeding weakness. You're reinforcing the idea that you're helpless, that it's someone else's fault, that you're a victim. And once you buy into that victim mindset, you lose the ability to take control. You become addicted to blame. You become comfortable with excuses, and comfort is the coffin of ambition. Most people complain because it's easy. It's easy to talk. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to wallow in misery and expect someone to come fix it for you. But no one's coming. Read that again. No one is coming. Not your parents, not your boss, not the government, not your friends. If you want something, you go get it. If it's broken, you fix it. If it's unfair, you outwork it. That's how you win. There's no power in complaining. There's power in accountability. That means owning everything, even the stuff that wasn't your fault. Why? Because the second you take responsibility for it, you gain the power to change it. The second you stop waiting for someone else to make it right, you become the person who makes it right. That's where growth happens. That's where strength is built. Complainers are stuck in the same loop every day. Same problems, same stories, same drama. You talk to them one year, they've got a list of complaints. You talk to them the next year, same list, maybe longer. Meanwhile, the people who take action are moving. They're learning, adapting, building. They're not wasting time arguing about how life should be. They're mastering how to dominate it as it is. Every complaint is a red flag. It's a warning sign that you're focusing on the wrong thing. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I do about it? That shift alone changes everything. It puts the power back in your hands. You stop being a prisoner and start being a problem solver. But as long as you keep choosing to complain, you're choosing to stay stuck. You're choosing weakness. You're choosing the sidelines while others play the game. Living in the past is like driving with your eyes glued to the rear. You mirror. You're guaranteed to crash. But people do it every day. They carry old pain, old mistakes, old versions of themselves like trophies of failure. They let their past define them, control them, cage them, and then they wonder why they can't move forward. You can't build a future if your head is stuck in yesterday. The past is over, finished, dead. It doesn't exist anymore except in your mind. But some people make it their permanent address. They live in regrets. Replay old conversations, rehearse old betrayals, obsess over what could have happened, should have happened, would have happened. But it didn't, and no amount of crying, blaming, or reliving it is going to rewrite the script. Life isn't a movie you get to edit. It's real time. You move forward or you get left behind. Some people are so addicted to their past pain that it becomes part of their identity. They wear it like armor. This happened to me, so this is who I am now. No, that's a lie you're telling yourself so you don't have to grow. You're not broken. You're just stuck in a narrative that you refuse to outgrow. The past can shape you, but it should never trap you. You're not here to repeat your story, you're here to rewrite it. Your best decisions aren't behind you, your greatest wins haven't happened yet. But if your mind is anchored to old failures, you're blind to opportunity. You can't step into your power dragging the weight of your worst moments. That baggage slows you down, weakens you, kills your momentum. It keeps you timid, hesitant, always second, guessing yourself because of something that happened when you didn't know better. Living in the past is the fastest way to destroy confidence. You start measuring who you are based on who you were. You shrink your goals to fit your fears. You filter every opportunity through the lens of old pain. You start to believe that because something failed once, it will always fail. That because you made a mistake before, you're bound to mess up again. That mindset is poison, and it's self-inflicted. You want to evolve. Cut the anger, drop the dead weight. What's done is done. Whether it was betrayal, embarrassment, loss, failure, it happened. Now what? What are you going to do about it? Because sitting there reliving it won't undo it. Talking about it endlessly won't fix it. Carrying it around like a badge of honor won't make you stronger. Action will, focus will, forward motion will. You have to become dangerous again, sharp, present. Future driven, that doesn't happen when your brain is stuck on rewind. Every time you bring up the past, you're stealing energy from today. Every time you indulge in regret, you're weakening your ability to perform right now. And that's the only moment that matters. Right now is where success is built. Right now is where discipline is earned. Right now is where the fight is won. Your environment is either a weapon or a weakness. The people you allow into your life are either sharpening you or softening you. And if you're surrounded by losers, people with no drive, no discipline, no ambition, you're not just stalling your growth, you're slowly killing it. Energy is contagious. You sit around 5 people with loser mindsets, you'll be the 6th. That's not theory, it's fact. Losers don't just fail, they drag others down with them, not because they're evil, but because they're comfortable. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be reminded of what they're not doing. So when you start leveling up, they get uncomfortable. You being better makes them feel worse. And instead of rising to your level, they try to pull you back to theirs. It's not personal, it's survival for them. A loser doesn't have to be broke or jobless. A loser is anyone who's quit on their potential, anyone who complains more than they take action, anyone who makes excuses, blames the world, plays the victim, and refuses to improve. You can't build a winning mindset surrounded by people addicted to mediocrity. You can't sharpen a blade by rubbing it against a sponge. Look at your circle. Are these people disciplined? Are they pushing you? Do they have goals, or are they just getting by? Do they call you out when you slack, or do they enable your laziness? Most people don't even realize they've been domesticated by their own social circle. They keep small-minded people around because it's safe. It's easy. No one holds them accountable. No one makes them feel behind. But that same comfort is the cage that's keeping them average. Every winner had to make hard cuts. Family, friends, childhood connections. If they weren't aligned with the mission, they had to go. That's not cold-hearted. That's survival. If you want to climb, you can't carry dead weight. You can love people from a distance. But if they aren't evolving, they can't stay in your inner circle. Loyalty doesn't mean tolerating low standards. Loyalty to growth comes first. Losers talk, winners work. Losers gossip, winners grind. Losers wait for the perfect moment. Winners create it. If your conversations aren't about money, mindset, health, strategy, legacy, what are you doing, wasting time? Every minute you spend with people who don't challenge you is a minute stolen from your future. Your circle should scare you a little. It should remind you how much more you could be doing. And no, this isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. But you can't do that if you're surrounded by people who celebrate comfort, glorify distractions, and hate discipline. You can't light a fire in your life while sitting in a room full of people who are soaking wet with excuses. Growth is uncomfortable, progress is lonely, excellence is rare, and that's exactly why you can't let average people influence your mindset, your goals, or your pace.